Zack Greinke has had quite a career in Major League Baseball. After dealing with anxiety issues early in his career that almost drove him away from the game entirely, Greinke returned to not only be a great pitcher like was expected of him, but to actually become one of the best pitchers of his generation. And if we take a look at the baseballgauge.com, taking a look at the probability of current players reaching the Hall of Fame, Zack Greinke's uh, probability, according to the site, is 99.4%. So he almost has nearly 100% chance to get into the Hall of Fame. So 35 years old last year, and he's going to be turning 36 this year. Still a very good pitcher. Of course, he was traded from the Arizona Diamondbacks to the Houston Astros. He actually pitched very well in the playoffs for the Astros, and kind of lost in the whole. I think he was kind of lost in the whole the cheating scandal. Of course, Greinke didn't have really any part in that as a pitcher, but I think that some people have kind of forgotten about Greinke. And of course, this is a guy who, he has already, 71.7 career WAR, and when you consider that the average Hall of Fame starting pitcher has 72.8 ones above replacement, obviously Greinke is very, very close to passing that bar. Of course, he has 2 years left on his contract with the Astros. So last year he actually put up 6.4 WAR. Now, one argument that people have against Greinke is that some of that career WAR includes batting, of course. So when he was in the National League with the Milwaukee Brewers, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and of course the Diamondbacks, he actually batted. And Greinke is known to be a better than average batter for a pitcher. And so, of course, that's factored into that WAR. And I believe that I don't remember the exact amount, but about 5 or 6 of that career WAR is thanks to batting. And there are people that say that the batting WAR should not be included in his argument for the Hall of Fame. I disagree with that. I think that I think the whole of his accomplishments should be included in that. So yes, even though he was, he's not a great hitter as far as league average hitter, he's been so much better than an average pitcher that I think that he deserves recognition for that. So, so anyway, Greinke, a guy who easily should pitch 2 more years. He hasn't shown any signs that he's going to really fall off at all, and even as his velocity has diminished, his trademark slow curveball has continued to be a huge weapon for him. So he's continued to be a great pitcher, and I can't see any reason why he can't be, an ace level pitcher for at least the next year and a half before his contract expires. It's likely that he'll end up retiring after that. Greinke has made so much money; he's made hundreds of millions of dollars in his career, and it's well deserved. Even as one of the most reserved players in the game, he has consistently, been an excellent pitcher. So. So the reason we're talking about Zack Greinke today is that not only does he have that really high chance of getting in the Hall of Fame, but Greinke doesn't really have that many rookie cards out there. So, of course, his premier card is the 2002 Upper Deck Prospect Premiers Auto, specially graded PSA 10. So this card, you can still find it raw, anywhere from $50 to $100 if you look. But there's really just not that many of them out there. The Pit does have one for $229 listed for sale with 4 additional holdings. The only other true rookie card that he really has is 2002 Bowman Draft and Bowman Chrome Draft, but those cards are actually pretty hard to find, pretty hard to track those down. The Pit doesn't actually have any of them, but as I've said, those cards are really hard to track down. That's really about it. He does have some cards from 2003 and 2004 that are also considered sort of rookie cards, but they're not. His true rookie cards are actually this and the Bowman Draft and Bowman Chrome Draft, and they're all actually very difficult cards to get a hold of. If you take a look at the PSA population for this card, there's actually only 290 of these graded with 193 tens and 69 nines. There are also some that are graded by Beckett, and we can take a look at that. So if we look at the BGS, the Beckett Grading Services pop report for this card, you'll see that they actually have 387 total, so actually more than PSA. That's actually not really that surprising, considering that a lot of autograph cards Autograph cards do tend to be submitted to Beckett more than PSA. It's just becomes sort of a trend in the sports card community. So there's 260 9.5s, which is the equivalent of a PSA 10 gem mint with 92 nines, and you actually see BGS nines of this card pop up fairly regularly. Um, but and then there's seven tens, so seven pristines. The one issue with this card is that because Beckett does have that auto grade, occasionally you will end up getting a 9 auto rather than a 10. I've seen this be true of a few of the BGS 9.5s, and collectors just in general really do not like to see a 9 on the auto. Typically, collectors really only want to collect 10 autos, and of course PSA does have the option to grade the auto, but typically they don't. Typically people choose not to grade the auto for a number of reasons. Number one, they don't want to risk coming back a 9 or an 8 potentially, and that is something that is an issue with this card that that several of those have come back 9s. I don't think that they have a way for you to see that on their pop report, but yeah. So the pit has actually had these in stock before, but we don't have any currently. But if this is a card that that you are looking to trade or sell, buy or sell, the pit does actually have listings for the raw version, the BGS 9.5, and the PSA 10. Of course, we would ask that we really only would like to trade 10 autos of the BGS 9.5. We may also consider adding the BGS 9 at some point, um, but anyway, this is Greinke's most important card. And what's interesting about Greinke is that um, I don't think that people really expected him to necessarily be a Hall of Famer, and just considering the career that he's put together, it seems pretty likely that he will end up in the Hall of Fame, especially considering that he's so close to essentially passing the wins above replacement bar for the Hall of Fame. And certainly he's had a great career, and what I think is interesting is that most future Hall of Famers have a lot more rookie cards than Greinke does, and if you look at the list, um, the other guys on high on this list, Verlander, Kershaw, and Scherzer, all have a far greater selection of rookie cards, and that actually works in Greinke's favor because of the fact that he really only has this card for a rookie auto, and maybe a few other Bowman cards from 2002 and 2003. He doesn't really have a whole lot of cards to go after, so. It's just kind of strange. Like, you would think that a guy that has had the career that he's had, people would be more interested in buying these cards up, and there just really aren't that many of them, comparatively to his peers. So definitely, if you are looking to get into a player, collecting a player who really doesn't have a whole ton of rookie cards available, it makes it pretty easy to complete his rookie cards set essentially. Um, but if you're looking to collect, this is definitely the card you want to look at. So yeah, this is a card that we are always happy to trade at the pit, for a future, especially considering that he is very likely to be a future Hall of Famer. So let us know what you guys think of Zack Greinke cards. Do you think that his cards are a good investment, or would you rather invest in perhaps one of the other likely Hall of Fame bound pitchers, Verlander, Kershaw, or Scherzer? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And we will be back soon with many more uh, card market reports. Happy collecting, everyone.